Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
And I'm Brittany Pacheco, and we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to break down all the superhero content that's coming your way in 2025. There's a lot. There's a lot, Brittany. Look at the score before we get started. Look at the scorecard. Marvel has 9 projects. That
Damn.
includes 3 films and 6 series that'll be on Disney Plus. Some are animated though. That leaves DC has about three at least that I know of. There might be some more that come down later in the year, but you've got that. You've got some other stuff sprinkled in outside of Marvel and DC, and there's a couple things that obviously Gen V season 2 is supposed to happen this year. We don't have a date for that, so we probably won't talk a ton about that. But there's some really interesting stuff. I mean, I'm wearing the hoodie, so like it's Superman. 2025 is the year of Superman, the return of Superman. So I'm excited. So let's get this going. We're gonna go from January through December, the calendar year. We're gonna list the things that are coming your way. And this is basically your 2025 superhero season preview. And Brittany, please start it off.
All right. Yeah,
So-
we are going to start off with Creature Commandos, Justin. This is something that you kind of talked about for a while.
Right. So just preface this, if you're an audio listener, we've got like a photo gallery going. But for those of us on YouTube, hey, check it out. We got some visual aids today, so that's cool. Courtesy of Brittany.
Real quick, Justin, before we really dive deep, shout out to those in our live chat here on YouTube. Yesenia, longtime friend of ours here in the Watchers in the Basement. She says she's super excited for the slate that we were about to talk about. And also shout out to King B. Johnson. Hashtag Superman, hashtag number 1 most anticipated movie. Not sure that's hashtag or not, but we're just going to go with number 1. That's fine. That's what it was before it was the hashtag, right? It was a pound sign. Number 1.
Right.
Appreciate both of y'all being here. And those also watching who may not be in the live chat, we appreciate you being here. Be sure to give us a follow, subscribe, and like, and tell us what you're most excited about for Superhero 2025.
Yeah, exactly. We want to know for sure whether it's what superhero TV show you're looking forward to most, or which movie. Let us know in the comments section. We appreciate that. So, Brittany, we're starting out with Creature Commandos. Now, this is kind of odd because this show technically started in 2024. The first episode aired December 5th. The final episode aired last week, January 9th. So 7 episodes in all. This is the unofficial start of James Gunn's DCU. James Gunn wrote this animated show, Creature Commandos, and I really enjoy it. And I think that if you've never, and these are characters that I didn't know anything about almost any of these characters. You've got, I mean, I've heard of the Bride of Frankenstein, but I didn't realize that was a DC character. You've got Frankenstein voiced by David Harbour. You've got a Nazi, a Nazi obsessed about, a robot that's obsessed with killing Nazis. You got GI Robot. You've got Weasel, who returns from the Suicide Squad. You've got Rick Flag Sr., which is played by Frank Grillo, which he's no stranger to the superhero world, as he played Crossbones for Marvel. Well, he's Rick Flag Sr. in this series. A lot of great characters, a lot of good stuff. The first episode is kind of like Suicide Squad, but with, instead of the criminals, you've got these like monsters basically, right? But then every episode is like a backstory into each individual character, and it's really emotional. It's really well done. It's it's worth your time. And the episodes are like 24, 25 minutes max. So you can fly through the series pretty quickly. There's going to be a season 2, and there are things that happen in this series that kind of show what maybe James Gunn's DCU is going to look like. We even briefly see Superman. We briefly see Batman. So some cool stuff. Definitely check it out if you haven't. But Brittany, any thoughts on that? I know you haven't watched this, but any thoughts on Creature Commandos?
Yeah. The fact that I have not, and somehow you've kind of convinced me to maybe give this show at least a shot, honestly. Because just looking here on Creature Commandos poster or artwork, and I'm like, what's with the Bride of Frankenstein doing on here? And then you start talking about like these are basically monsters, but it's like Suicide Squad meets monsters. Now, when you started off with Suicide Squad, I, as you know, not a fan. Not a fan of either iterations of Suicide Squad. And that's probably just because the fact that I just have a bad taste in my mouth from previous DC. Now, with James Gunn having taken over, it's DC Studios officially, right? And this is like the kickoff, if you will, for his vision of the direction DC is going to be going in. This is actually kind of cool because these are like classic monsters, if you will. And the fact that you also have
Yeah,
you named David Harbour, Frank Grillo, like these are actors who have been in Marvel, right? And
exactly.
they've crossed over to DC. So it's just kind of interesting. It's like, where are your loyalties, y'all? Like, what loyalty brand are you part of? Like, come on, let's get it together.
Well, and in the case of David Harbour, he's still very much in the MCU also as he'll be
Yes,
in Thunderbolts. He's, and we
we'll
saw
talk
him.
about that.
Yeah, we also saw him recently in What If season 3. So
This is true. This
it's a
is true.
great voice cast. You've got you mentioned the bride. The bride is kind of the de facto leader of this group, although Rick Flag Sr. is
Badass.
he's put in charge. She takes over. She's voiced by Indira Varma from Game of Thrones fame.
No way.
Yeah, so she voices that character.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's a really
Okay.
fun. Yeah, you've
Okay.
got
I'm actually kind of sold on this.
Maria Bakalova, who
Okay.
yeah, she voices the princess in this series. She was Cosmo in the MCU. She voiced the dog
Mhm,
briefly in
mhm.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Um,
Okay, so it's not so much that these actors are like they're not brand loyal to Marvel. They're loyal to James Gunn, it seems. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's kinda cool.
and
Quick
something else. Go ahead.
quick shout out to here in the chat. We've got Trisha joining us here. She says she's missed us. We've missed you too.
Yeah,
Also says that she hasn't watched Creature Commandos, but has heard nothing but good stuff about it. So yeah, Trisha, I'm literally Justin's the only person who has talked to me about this. I'm kind of convinced. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of convinced to actually give it a shot. So hopefully you will give this show a shot as well.
yeah. Episodes 3 and 4 are really emotional, really good stuff.
Mm,
Uh, James Gunn, he's just good at this. He's really good at this. That's why, like, I have high hopes for the DCU. Obviously, I have high hopes for Superman, the movie that's coming out in July, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a little bit. Yeah, James Gunn's the man. And until he fails, like, I think we should all have faith in him, and I certainly do. But yeah, Creature Commandos, definitely want to check this show out. You've got, Brittany, you hit on it. Like, it's kind of like Universal Monsters meets the DC universe. That's part of
mhm.
it. You have a character. Her name is Nina Magursky, and she is basically like kind of like the creature from the is it Black Lagoon, kind of like
Yeah,
so she's a character sort of similar. I mean, like she looks like that character. Is not the same like backstory as that character by any means.
gotcha.
Viola Davis returns as Amanda Waller, and something
Okay.
about this show that's really important is all the people who voice these characters are going to play these characters in live action. Now, I doubt David Harbour will actually be Frankenstein. He'll probably just voice Frankenstein in live action,
Most likely, yeah.
or who knows? They may do something, put him in some kind of suit, but it is kind of cool. And I mentioned Frank Grillo. He's going to be in Superman. He's in this. He's going to be in Peacemaker season 2, which we're going to talk about that a little bit more
He's
later
just
on
all
in the
over the place.
podcast. So yeah, exciting. I thought it was a fun start to the DCU, and it's kind of like under the radar because again, Creature Commandos. Who's ever heard? No one's heard of this team or this comic group. So anyway, I highly recommend it. And
Very cool.
so moving on to the next thing that's actually coming out in January. This comes out tomorrow as we're airing it right now, January 15th. Starting tomorrow, January 16th, is season 5 of Harley Quinn, the animated series starring Kaylee Cuoco as Harley Quinn. She's awesome. I know, Brittany, I don't think you've watched this.
I have not.
I think you would really enjoy it. It is a comedy. I mean, it's definitely way more adult than most animated stuff. By the way, Creature Commandos has some adult things too. So it's, this is not like, the Marvel stuff. This is more adult than Marvel. Harley Quinn is way more adult than Marvel. Um, Really funny series. The tagline for this season is they're leaving Gotham behind. They're going to Metropolis. So you're going to have Lois Lane, Superman, Lex Luthor are going to be more involved. All these characters have been involved in this series. And by the way, this series is not connected to the DCU. This is a separate kind of Elseworlds kind of universe that's, like I said, going into the 5th season. Really looking forward to it. It's a fun show. We had a spinoff show for for this universe last year with Kite Man, which I talked about over the summer.
Mm.
Really funny stuff. Alan Tudyk is the voice of Clayface and the Joker in this series. He's also a bunch of he voices several characters in Creature Commandos. So really great stuff.
He's just a really talented voice actor. The man has pretty much dabbled in a lot of
Yeah.
these animation shows. The one that comes to mind off the top is he's Hey Hey from the movie Moana, the freaking rooster.
Okay.
And he makes these very convincing rooster sounds, and it's, from Alan, and it's really funny because you see the behind the scenes stuff and just how into it he gets. It's really enjoyable to watch him just in his element doing his craft. It's fun. And I love Kaylee Cuoco. King B. Johnson here kind of just read my mind. Hashtag the Big Bang Theory of DC, because that's one of my favorite shows of all time. And Kaylee was one of the big three, if you will.
Yeah.
And she's just great in comedy in general. I think I know she's dabbled in other genres of television and movies and what have you, but I think she really shines in comedy. That's just kind of where she got her start with what was that show with John Ritter when he passed away. But anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah. No, she's Kaylee Cuoco is awesome. I should note that the main thrust of the story is her love story, Harley Quinn's love story with Poison Ivy, who is voiced by Lake Bell. So really, really fun stuff. Definitely want to check out Harley Quinn. You can watch the entire series on Max, but season 5 starts on January 16th. Now, moving on to the next thing we have coming. This is the first entry for Marvel. This is coming January 29th. We have Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which was originally titled Spider-Man Freshman Year. And we were kind of told 2 or 3 years ago this was going to be kind of like an animated version of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, kind of like his backstory. That's no longer the case. This is now a separate universe. This is not connected to the MCU. And it's basically a story where the premise is it's set in an alternative timeline, and we get like a story of a young Peter Parker who's become Spider-Man, and his mentor is Norman Osborn instead of Tony Stark. So that's kind of the premise behind that.
All right.
The cast includes Hudson Thames is the actor who will voice Peter Parker Spider-Man. I'm not familiar with Hudson, but Coleman Domingo is going to be Norman Osborn.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Brittany, even though it's not in the MCU, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio will appear as Matt Murdock / Daredevil and Wilson Fisk / Kingpin. Not the last time we're going to talk about those two gentlemen in this podcast. In fact,
No,
we're talking
it's
about
not.
very soon. We'll be discussing them. So
yes, we will.
Anyway, this animated series kicks off at the end of the month. Do you have any? I know Spider-Man's not one of your favorite characters, but do you have any interest in this series?
Hard to say. Truly hard to say. And I'm looking up Hudson Thames as you were talking, and based on the filmography, looks like he's actually had some involvement with MCU already. What If, Avengers, Quantumania, not related to MCU, but Marmaduke. If y'all have checked out Marmaduke, I have not, because I just, have not. But youngin', I say young, he's 30, but he's also a singer, it looks like. So yeah, I'm again unfamiliar with this gentleman, known for Mad Men. Oh, interesting. Okay, all you Mad Men watchers out there, I think our friend Marcy from here on the Watchers has been doing a rewatch of Mad Men, so might have to ask her about Hudson. But yeah, you've already said it. Yes, Trisha Hudson Thames, the singer / composer. This is the same person that we're talking about, who will be the voice of the animated Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, in this show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So sounds like you know who this person is. Sounds like you may be excited. I will give this a watch. Will I like it? Don't know. Remains to be seen. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm not clear. I think this is going to be a weekly release show. I don't think they're just going to do like a binge drop, but we'll likely do something with this show at some point, I would think. I'm excited for it. The trailer dropped a few weeks ago, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So I like. Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters, so I'm down for more Spider-Man.
I like the idea of Coleman Domingo being involved. There was a lot of buzz about
Yeah.
Coleman being cast as possible Kang replacement,
Yeah,
I believe,
exactly.
when that was still kind of up in the air, but then ultimately Marvel moved into a different direction with removing Kang altogether
Mhm.
as the big bad. So I like that he's involved. Let's just say that. I was very much looking forward to him possibly being part of the MCU. So we'll get some of it.
Yeah. Yes, we will. So, yeah, like I said, we'll probably talk about this at some point later on February, probably once it kinda wraps up. Moving on, speaking of February, let's get to the first project from February. Oh, by the way, thanks, Trisha. Yeah, sure, you're welcome. I'm happy to point out, yeah, the trailer, it's pretty cool. So, check it out if you get a chance. Moving on to February, we have the 3rd season of Invincible on Amazon Prime dropping on February 6th. Now, full disclosure, I haven't finished season 2. I loved season 1 when it came out like 3 years ago. They had a long break between 1 and 2, and then even in 2, they cut it in half, and they had a long break between the first half and the second half. I've only watched the first episode, and there was like a mini like a prequel episode in between season 1 and 2. I really do enjoy this series. It's very bloody, as you can maybe tell from the poster image. I mean, that doesn't even cover half of it. It's
It doesn't.
super bloody, super violent, animated superhero series, but I do enjoy it. I just haven't gotten back into watching it. Haven't gotten caught up yet. So I need to do that. But the voice cast, Stephen Yun plays Mark Grayson, Invincible, the title character. You've got J.K. Simmons as Omni Man, who is basically an evil Superman, like a Homelander, but he's like the dad version. If Homelander were like a 50 or 60-year-old dad or something. So,
I mean, he
uh,
kind of is. He's pushing it.
yeah.
Spoiler.
Anyway, great voice cast, great I mean, it's an entertaining show. I really should get back to watching it. There's just a lot of stuff's been going on last year, so we've been pretty busy if you've been following the podcast. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely will get back on it, and hopefully I'll be caught up in time for the season 3 debut on February 6th. Brittany, any thoughts on Invincible?
Yeah, I've seen even less of this show than you. So kudos to you for at least having made it to the first episode of season 2. I've only watched episode 1 of season 1,
Yes.
and it was bloody. It was way too out there for me. I just could not get into it. And maybe because of the time, like it was COVID, there was just like a lot to adjust to during that period of time, especially like just me personally in my life, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know, I just could not get myself into it. Now, my husband John, I believe, watched the full first season. I'm not quite sure if he watched the second season. If he did, couldn't tell you how much. But the show aesthetically looks great, obviously, and you've got a, a great cast. It's just not one of those shows that I feel I can personally get into. Now, could I give it a try later on at some point? Yes, but I have a very long list of things that I need to watch that kind of interest me more than Invincible. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you guys are into bloody animation shows, this one is it. And that's because I have not watched beyond one episode. So,
Yeah. Well,
if that's your vibe, go for
I
it.
I will say if you've never seen Invincible, give the first episode of season 1 a shot because the ending is very shocking. And I think
Extremely.
the hook of the ending will get you to come back for episode 2, and then if you
Yeah.
finish the season, you kinda understand the story going
That
forward, and,
that ending, I still remember vividly
mm,
because of the shock and awe that it left me. But just for me personally, it wasn't enough for me to be like, "Oh, I gotta know what happens." Because
yeah,
that to me was like, well, what's even the point anymore? But there is a point. So yes, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from giving this show a shot.
mhm,
Just for me personally, this was one I you know put on the back burner. But yeah, y'all, this show, it looks good, great casting, bloody as hell, surprise twist in the end of that first episode.
mhm.
Whoa.
Definitely, definitely so, very shocking. This is a show that I think was hurt by having such a long layoff between season 1 and 2. I know it hurt
Yeah,
my momentum personally for my excitement for the show, and I think it probably hurt the momentum from a lot of people.
yeah.
But yeah, now that season 1 and 2 are available, check it out. Season 3 is coming up February 6th. So moving on, the next thing in February comes on Valentine's Day. We get the first MCU film of the year, the 35th overall in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have Captain America: Brave New World. This is Anthony Mackie, aka Sam Wilson's first solo film as Captain America. This movie was originally titled Captain America: New World Order, but they changed it to Brave New World. I think it's a good change.
Good call.
Because New World Order was actually the title of the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I thought that was kind of weird that like
Yeah.
you would name it after the first episode. But just recently we got the reported runtime for the movie, 1 hour 58 minutes. So it's on the shorter side for a runtime, which I think is maybe a good thing. This movie has gone through many reshoots and
Yeah.
script edits and revisions and
I
I
think they
know
said it was on its way to becoming the most expensive MCU
right.
film due to the reshoots, the retelling and all that good stuff, or bad stuff, depending on how you wanna look at it. Either way, I'm looking forward to this movie. The show, sadly, Falcon and the Winter Soldier didn't quite land
Mhm.
for me. It just the whole storyline with the Flag Smashers, I think that's what they were called. See, it wasn't that memorable for me.
Yeah, no,
Um,
sure. Yeah.
it just didn't land, but I love Falcon or Sam Wilson. Of course, now he's Captain America. I love him. Anthony Mackie, his excitement, of course, to announce at Comic-Con that Harrison Ford was going to be, of course, recasting um, Thunderbolt Ross after William Hurt's passing. But the fact that you get the Harrison Ford to be in your movie, and Anthony Mackie, of course, had to, tell the crowd, "Hey, go tell Tom Holland, like I got Harrison Ford, I got fucking Harrison Ford."
Yeah.
So great, and to obviously, Cat was out of the bag early on. We got to see Harrison morph into the Red Hulk, and
Yep.
that's just cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I mean, this is a movie that, like I said, it seems like people are kind of down on the movie because of all the, all the changes and everything. But
Sure.
maybe they get it. Maybe they're gonna get it right. Who knows? Like, I'm excited to see it. I'll definitely be seeing it day one or earlier if I can. I know tickets go on sale, I believe, on Friday of this week. So the 17th.
Well, Trisha said that she got her tickets
Oh, she already got her
for the
tickets. Okay.
15th. So maybe
Okay.
we're missing something, Justin.
No, there
Trisha,
might be like a fan
hook us up.
screening or something. Yeah, and I do enjoy going to fan screenings if I can, but,
Yeah.
I haven't seen one here yet, and I've been looking because I'm excited for the movie. I'm looking forward to it,
Mhm.
and, I do wanna mention this. I don't think this is actually gonna happen, but, a few months ago, we heard the news that Chris Evans will be returning to, the Avengers, Doomsday movie, which, of course, will also bring back Robert Downey Jr. He'll be returning as Doctor Doom. And
Yes.
the news of Chris Evans being announced as he's returning, and it's still not clear who he's going to play. I mean, obviously, he probably will play like a. Okay, so Trisha said she has a private screening. Very cool. Well, your company is way
Very
cooler
cool.
than any company that I've ever worked for, and probably ever will work for. To be perfectly honest,
The
um,
shade.
yeah. But back to my little Chris Evans nugget here. So I think it's interesting because the last reported reshoot of this movie or last thing they did was a couple months ago. And it's like, is there gonna be like some cameo? Like, are we gonna get a mid-credit where we see Chris Evans in this movie? Because
Mm.
wh- why did that news come out around the same time as like a reshoot for this film? And it may have been, like I said, just like a one-off little quick mid-credit or in-credit scene that constituted being a quote unquote reshoot. I just think it's interesting timing. I don't think we're gonna see him, but like I'm just saying, like if you do, you heard it here first, right? If you don't, forget I said anything. I'm an idiot, but if I
No,
got
it's
it right,
documented. It's
like yeah,
documented, Justin. You
if I
can't take
got
it
it
back.
right, please credit me. I actually don't think we're gonna see him because I think whenever he does return in Doomsday, I think we're gonna kinda see what happened at the end of Endgame where he goes back through time and returns the stones. I think that's what we're gonna see
Yeah.
with his character in, Avengers Doomsday, but it'd be cool if he were in, like, in a mid-credit or a post-credit scene for this film. Brittany, any other thoughts on this movie?
On the subject of Chris Evans' return to the MCU, if it's in any way connected to this movie. I kind of hope that he does not have a cameo for this movie just because I feel like the mantle has already been passed to Sam Wilson. Like Chris Evans, Captain America,
Yeah.
chose Sam to be the next Captain America. And I
Right.
feel like it's just going to do something to like taint that mantle like for Sam Wilson being a black Captain America. Like I don't know, I just feel like it's going to do something negative in the long run.
Yeah, I could see it. Like it could definitely overshadow. And I don't think that's why I don't think it's
Absolutely.
going to happen. But
I
because the
yeah.
MCU is an interconnected story, like I could see there being some like breadcrumb where like, oh, Steve Rogers, because to me, in my mind, Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson can both coexist. You know, like just like they had before. And Sam
Sure.
Sam Wilson can be Captain America. Steve Rogers is maybe past that. Maybe he's just going to be Steve Rogers. You know, who knows?
I don't know.
Or
I feel
you could have
because
two
how
Captain Americas. You know what I'm saying? So
no.
no,
I see, I
okay,
disagree with that. I wholeheartedly disagree with that just because of how big the gesture was at the end of Endgame. And it's the same thing how I feel with Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU. It's nothing against their talent and what they brought to the MCU. It's just a fact that obviously this is the world we live in is about the almighty dollar, and MCU with change of events from one Jonathan Majors and things like that. I think a lot of people feel a certain type of way with the MCU, whether it's superhero fatigue, what have you. But you're bringing back, quote unquote, the actors from the golden age of Marvel, and I just feel like it's going to do more negative than good
yeah,
if that were to happen, however small that cameo will be. But I just feel like this is Sam Wilson's time to shine as Captain America. Like, let's not take that away from him, and let's focus on him and his trials as the new Captain America, what have you. Moving away from that subject, I do want to talk about something even Trisha brought up here in the chat. Giancarlo Esposito.
mhm.
She says it's going to be hard for me to see Giancarlo as anyone other than Moff Gideon. Now, Trisha, I'm not sure if you've watched The Boys, but Giancarlo Esposito as the head of Vought is a whole other level than Moff Gideon. I mean, we've watched The Mandalorian here on the Watchers, but give me Giancarlo Esposito in any kind of role at any capacity. That man is born to act and instill some kind of fear in you.
And play a
So,
villain. Yeah,
oh yeah, to play a villain of any kind, like he's just wonderful at what he does. So I'm looking forward to seeing his role. I have no idea what to expect, of course, and I've adopted this mentality of going into these movies and shows of not having any expectations whatsoever, and that's like where I'm going to stay. So I
mhm.
don't want to have any expectations of seeing Chris Evans return in a cameo or some bigger role or what have you. I just don't want to have any of those expectations, but I do expect Giancarlo to give us quite the performance. That's it.
Yeah, of course. And last thing for me on this movie is like, even though there's been a lot of criticism, I think there's a lot of doom and gloom. People are just negative about everything online, but especially Marvel for whatever reason. Everything I've seen from this movie, I think looks cool. All the artwork looks cool. The trailers, I think, look cool. I mean, yeah, some of the CGI maybe is a little wonky, but like
Yeah.
if the story's good, like I won't. I mean, I'm gonna like it probably. You know, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see it. So, the first big film of the year is Captain America: Brave New World, coming February 14th. And
The
Brittany, let's
day
move on.
before the day before Frank's birthday, just FYI.
That's right. That's right.
There's your Valentine's Day movie, y'all.
There you go.
Moving on.
So moving on. Yeah. So this is the big one for a lot of people, Brittany, especially for you, because on March 4th, we get Daredevil Born Again streaming on Disney Plus.
Yes, we do.
It'll be the 13th TV series in the MCU. Um, it's basically going to be season 4 of the Netflix show, which I know you are a huge fan of. This is actually one of my superhero blind spots, and I don't mean the pun, no pun intended, because obviously Matt Murdock is blind. I really did not mean to do that, but
uh
it's a series. I've only watched the first
swing.
8. Yeah, I've only watched the first 8 episodes of the first season, so I'm gonna try to finish this up before this series starts. But Brittany, I'll let you take it away. What do you think about this show?
So, given that Trisha here has said, let's go, I'm almost done with season 2 as a first time watcher. I will not give any spoilers whatsoever, y'all, just because I want y'all to enjoy that show. Holy crap. I binge watched the mess out of all the seasons of Daredevil. Shout out to Frank for putting me onto the show because I was a super late bloomer when it comes to a lot of these Netflix and Marvel type shows. Yeah. But this show was the one that really got me, and I'm like, holy crap! Charlie Cox is a phenomenal actor, and the fact that he does a lot of his own stunts, the workouts, the training, and being able to do all that plus act his ass off is so good. This Daredevil, if y'all go back and watch our MCU draft, like Daredevil obviously was part of my team and it should have been the winning team, damn it. But anyway, I digress. But this show, the tension between Matt Murdock / Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio's character, Kingpin, is so good. I love Vincent D'Onofrio in this role. And we've seen him in another show, Echo. So it's all kind of, they're from the same universe, obviously. And he
saw Daredevil there too.
We did see Daredevil right in the beginning, and it was so good to see him again. So this is one of my favorite shows. I'm so glad that Trisha's watching it. Justin, you gotta watch this too. I'll be more than happy to sacrifice my life for the next few weeks to do a rewatch. And you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. But but yeah, I'm so looking forward to this new season. I watched the trailer that dropped today, and man, I got so hyped just by watching it. And Charlie Cox is daddy for me. Sorry, like he just is. He just is.
And I do love the timing that the trailer dropped this morning, and right because we're doing this podcast tonight. But the trailer looks great. All the actors are returning from the Netflix series, so it's great to have Foggy and
yes,
Karen Page returning. These characters, and of course, John Bernthal's Punisher is going to be back. So very, very much looking forward to this. Like I said, I've got to get caught up on the Daredevil series, but the Daredevil's no stranger. Excuse me. Daredevil's no stranger to the MCU. We've seen him in Spider-Man No Way Home. We've seen him in She-Hulk. We've seen him in Echo.
Oh, the She-Hulk cameo was so good. Yeah, the Walk of Shame.
Right. He's going to voice the character in another universe in Spider-Man. You're from the Neighborhood Spider-Man, the animated show we talked about before. Mm-hmm. And we already know he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday. So he is, Charlie Cox and Daredevil, that's a key component to the future of the MCU and the current standings of the MCU. So very much looking forward to this. Brittany, would you say that this is probably your most anticipated superhero project of the year?
Absolutely. I don't have anything Daredevil per se. So what I'm currently wearing is the Scarlet Witch spirit jersey that I picked up from Disney when I went back in September, but it is like Daredevil red-ish. She is the Scarlet Witch and he also dons red clothing. So yeah, I'm very excited. Like, I don't know what it is about Daredevil that really, really got me so excited about Charlie Cox and his adaptation, because we need to talk about the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. Oh God.
I don't hate it. I thought it was fine at the time when I saw it. I thought it was fine.
I'm glad.
I saw it in the theater back in 2004 or 5, whenever it came out.
I'm glad he did not reprise his role in Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay. I was okay with Elektra. Don't get me wrong. I was fine with Elektra. Jennifer Garner, great. I'm glad Daredevil, Ben Affleck was not in it.
Well, and of course, according to what happened in Daredevil, in Deadpool and Wolverine, that Daredevil didn't make it. He didn't make it out of the void. He died. So,
No. Give me the Charlie Cox version of Daredevil all day, every day, just until the end of time. Also, fun fact: Charlie Cox and our very own Loki, aka Tom Hiddleston, are like literal best friends in real life. They were like flatmates. during their school years or college years or what have you. And I love seeing them as real life friends, but then also part of the MCU now officially.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, Charlie Cox is also pretty friendly with Andrew Garfield too. They're
Yes,
buddies.
yes,
Yeah.
they're
So
all really good friends.
yeah,
I love
so
it.
that's really cool. We're gonna be talking a lot about this show in the next few months. So don't worry. There's much more Daredevil for it to come from the Watchers in the Basement.
And if you want to take part in our live chats, you got to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you will be notified when we begin those lives, because I guarantee, Justin, we are going to be doing weekly pods.
Yes, we will. Yep.
And if we are not, I am shutting down this channel because I have that power.
You do. You do.
And with great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah. But even with that responsibility, sometimes you need a good lawyer, and that's what Charlie Cox was, or Matt Murdock was for Spider-Man and No Way Home. So
I'm a really good lawyer.
there
Yes,
you go.
King
B had
King
it.
B
Yeah,
Johnson. Shout out to you for putting that in the chat.
appreciate it.
Such a good line.
Yeah. So moving on, March 14th, we have a movie called Novocaine. I don't know if y'all have seen the trailer for this or heard about this.
I did.
I'm not even sure it's even superhero related. It's kind of superhero adjacent. It's not a Marvel. It's not a DC project. But I think if you watch the trailer for this movie, I think you're going to want to see the movie. It stars Jack Quaid, and the premise is he plays a character named Nathan Kane, who is a mild-mannered bank executive with the inability to feel pain. He has to then save his coworker slash girlfriend, who's been taken hostage by a group of bank robbers. It's got, like I said, Jack Quaid is the main character. It's got Amber Midthunder. She's the love interest, and it's got Jacob Batalon. Speaking of Spider-Man, you've got Ned Leeds is kind of Jack Quaid's sidekick in this movie.
Yep.
There's a reference to Wolverine, I believe, in the trailer. It looks really fun. I think it's gonna be. I think it'll be worth your time at the theater.
Yeah.
Brittany, have you seen the trailer for this movie?
I did. I want to say I saw
Okay.
this trailer when we either went to go watch Gladiator 2 or it probably wasn't Gladiator 2. It was probably Craven when we went to go watch
Okay.
Craven.
Yeah, you know what? I think when I saw Craven, I think I saw the trailer there too. Yeah.
Yes, I know you like to call it Craven, but yes, I'm pretty sure that trailer was airing during that movie. But yeah, Jack Quaid is kind of like up and coming. I feel more so given his performance in The Boys, and the fact that he's Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son still kind of blows my mind at times. And his very first movie was The Hunger Games, the very first Hunger Games movie. And spoiler alert, he doesn't make it. So we'll see if he makes it in Novocaine, given that he feels no pain.
Yeah,
I'm kind of curious.
In addition to The Boys, he also is the voice of the animated Superman series, My Adventures with Superman, which I don't know for a fact, but we probably will get season 3 of that at some point down the line in 2025. So I do enjoy that show. It's on Max also.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and Trisha, you're right. This whole trailer, this movie gave me The Boys vibes as well, based on the character here. And it's just so, it's like maybe his superpower is feeling no pain.
Yeah,
could be.
Exactly.
Bridges over into The Boys. Who knows?
Moving on, we jump to May, where we get the Thunderbolts with the asterisk in the title. Careful who you assemble. That drops on May 2nd. It's the 36th film in the MCU. It features, obviously Florence Pugh's back, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour. We get Wyatt Russell returning as a U.S. agent. You have a new character being introduced. Louis Pullman is playing Bob, but I think we know it's going to be Sentry, who's kind of like a Superman archetype for Marvel. Basically, it looks like Marvel version of Suicide Squad. The premise is a group of anti-heroes go on a mission for the American government. So, and if you've seen the trailer, which I recommend checking it out, there's some great songs in the various trailers for this film. We see that Julie Louis-Dreyfus's character, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, has purchased Avengers Tower, and she looks like she's in charge of this new, maybe it's like Dark Avengers group. I'm not sure. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I really want to know what the asterisk means. Are they going to change the title of the movie at some point? Like after it's over, is it going to be like a Falcon and Winter Soldier situation where when it ended, it was called Captain America and the Winter Soldier? A lot of questions about this one. Brittany, what are your thoughts on Thunderbolts?
I know it really shouldn't have any impact whatsoever on the title. I was just curious, given the passing of William Hurt, who was Thunderbolt Ross, if you will. What was his actual first name in the movie? I just always refer to him as Thunderbolt Ross.
Thaddeus Ross.
Thaddeus, there we go. Okay, that guy. Yeah, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, right? He played by William Hurt, sadly passed away. What was it? A year or two ago?
A couple of years ago, I
And
believe, yeah.
see, time is an illusion. I think everything happened like 2 days ago. But the recasting of his character to be one Harrison Ford, given that it's called the Thunderbolts, and I believe it's supposed to be named after Thunderbolt
It
Ross.
is, yeah.
It's kind of curious that we at present time, at least I haven't seen any connection between this group and Thunderbolt Ross at all.
Well, that's the question I was gonna just pose to everybody, watching or listening. Do you think we're gonna see Thunderbolt Ross appear in this movie? Because yeah, the Thunderbolts are named for him. That's his group that he puts in the comic books. He puts together his own team of
Right.
heroes. So yeah, it'd be kind of weird if he's not in the movie. I mean, obviously, Captain America: Brave New World, where Harrison Ford plays Red Hulk, precedes this movie. So
Mhm.
I think we're gonna see him in some way. I would think so, right?
I hope so. I do hope so. And given the association of this to Suicide Squad and how I feel towards Suicide Squad, for God's sakes, I hope this is done way better. But I feel when you've got the actors such as Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan and what have you, I think they carry themselves extremely well in their roles as Yelena Belova and Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier. I, I I can't wait just to see the dynamics between all of these characters. We got a little bit between Bucky and the David Harbour's character. Oh God, I just spaced on his name. The
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian.
Yeah.
And love that in What If y'all haven't watched What If, the really the only episode I recommend watching is the third episode, which is the Red Guardian and Bucky. They're kind of, what do you call it, budding cop sort of.
Yeah, buddy cop. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually, I think it's episode 3 of season 3 of What If, I believe.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So to go here in the chat, Justin, real quick,
Yeah.
Trisha, extremely excited about this movie. Let's fucking go. My number one most excited to watch this year. And King B. Johnson, this is the Breakfast Club of Marvel. That's kind of a fun.
Yeah, that
way
was
of looking at
actually
it.
that was a Sebastian Stan quote a couple days ago.
Oh,
So
it's funny.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Trisha says, I definitely do think we will get to see him, referring to Thunderbolt Ross, and maybe why the asterisk to not give it away. So I don't know. The asterisk is very curious itself, because that usually in where we work, asterisks usually kind of relate to having like a footnote. So what is that footnote, right? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the thing I've kind of read and heard is that this movie's gonna be called something else. So to me, that's kind of crazy, like to market a movie, but I mean, it's gonna be. I think the ending will have a title card that's different than Thunderbolt.
But it's doing its job. It's creating buzz.
Right.
It's getting people talking.
Right.
It's all publicity is
different.
good
Yeah.
publicity. So
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. So I am also looking forward to this one quite a bit. So
Yes.
can't wait for May 2nd.
Just in time. Just in time for your birthday too.
Yeah, my birthday's right around this time. So yeah.
Or our birthday it'll be right after my birthday, right before yours. Hey.
That's true. There you go. So moving on to June. On June 24th, we get the premiere of Ironheart. Now, this series has been in the works for a long time. In fact, it was filmed in 2022.
Jeez.
And the last time we saw this character, Riri Williams' version of Ironheart, was in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever at the end of 2022. That's when we were introduced to the character. We've actually seen the character in What If, the most recent What If season. Brittany, what are your thoughts on this? Because like the main cast members that I know of are, of course, Dominic Thorne is playing Riri Williams / Ironheart. You have Anthony Ramos, who's playing Parker Robbins, aka the Hood, who is likely the villain of the story. And then you have
Ah.
Alden Ehrenreich, young Han Solo himself, as a character in this series. What are your thoughts
Interesting.
on this one? Do you think that, how do you think this show is gonna pan out?
Truthfully, I don't have a lot of thoughts given that I like many other things. I don't have a lot of knowledge about
Yeah,
the characters and what have you. Now, what I will say, Anthony Ramos, I love. I absolutely fell in love with him during Hamilton, which was something that I watched on Disney Plus during COVID. He is a phenomenal actor. He's a phenomenal singer, by the way. But I'm curious to see how he could portray a villain. I think the latest thing I saw him in was it a Transformers movie? Was it a Transformers movie? I think it was like the one of
yeah,
the
right.
later Transformer
Transformer:
movies.
Rise of the Beast. Yeah,
That one. Yeah.
yeah,
Weird movie. Still liked him because I think he has like good comedic timing and just has a lot to offer in his performances.
yeah.
But really I don't have a lot to offer regarding Ironheart. I'm curious to see the direction that this may go, how if this is going to tie back into anything that's happening with the main storyline that is, the movies that we've all come to know and love. Because I know Marvel was also trying to do this whole, oh god, what was it? What was it called? Echo was the first of its kind with this Marvel
Spotlight.
spotlight kind of thing. And now
Right.
we're looking here at the logo of this, and it's Marvel Television. So, I mean, is this like
Yeah,
a
they
rebrand? Is this like something that,
well, it's
like, what's
now
happening?
all their TV shows are in Marvel Television, all their animated things are Marvel Animation. Of course, the movies are still under Marvel Studios. I mean,
Ah,
it's all under the Marvel Studios umbrella, but then, like, the
sure.
movies are studios, the TV is television, and the
Right.
animated stuff's animation. So it's
Okay.
just how they kinda brand it, but,
Yeah, but then why brand Echo the way that they did with Marvel Spotlight?
I can't answer that,
Yeah,
honestly,
I
'cause
know.
I
I'm
don't
just
really
it's
know.
just open-ended
Yeah,
questions right here. And Trisha here says, "I was excited for this, but it's been so long and so many questions about how this could go makes me nervous for the series." And that's completely valid.
yeah,
It really is because a long time has passed.
it has.
And
It has.
is it gonna hold up? I think would be the one question
Yeah.
I have.
It's gonna be 6 episodes, and it will be the conclusion of phase 5 of the MCU.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, no pressure, no pressure. Uh, I mean, a lot of times that doesn't always mean anything,
Sure.
what the final, because
I think people will
now
be relieved, honestly.
well, I mean, whatever, and I think
Yeah.
people are gonna be dogging the MCU forever
Oh,
regardless if it's
100%.
phase 6 or 7 or phase 14 or whatever,
100%.
people will find
Agree.
something to be negative about. Moving
Always.
on to July 11th. The movie I've been waiting for a long time, and I've already talked about this movie quite a bit on our channel whenever the teaser trailer dropped on December 19th. This is, my most anticipated movie of the year, my most anticipated movie in a long time. It is Superman, James Gunn's Superman. He's the writer, director of the film. We see David Corenswet as the Man of Steel. We've got the Look Up poster here, which I actually have a shirt that has that image on it. I got my Superman hoodie on. I can't wait for this movie. Really can't wait. This movie was originally titled Superman Legacy. I do like the fact that they dropped Legacy and just are just going with Superman. In addition to David Cornsweat, you've got Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Nicholas Holt will be Lex Luthor. Isabella Merced's Hawk Girl. Eddie Gathegi is Mr. Terrific. Nathan Fillion is Guy Gardner's version of the Green Lantern. We've got Metamorpho, played by Anthony Kerrigan, and we have a Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo. There's many other characters that are going to be in this movie. This, to me, this is it. I can't wait for July 11th, and hopefully I'll see it before then. But Brittany, I've talked a ton about this movie already. What are your thoughts on the movie? What did you think about the trailer?
How dare you not mention crypto?
Well,
How
that's why
dare you?
I was gonna let you mention the dog. So the super dog.
The goodest boy. Oh, sweet puppy. Yeah. As someone who's never really been a Superman fan, I of course grew up with the Christopher Reeves movies, thanks to my
Yeah.
dad. Superman, I believe, is probably his favorite superhero. And I respect that. Like Trisha, I was more of a Batman girl. And that's kind of where I leave that. However, I will say, as much as I love Henry Cavill in the suit, I was not a fan of the movies at all, sadly. No disrespect to Henry Cavill. He is king of the nerds. He did a great job. Movies just did not do anything for me. I have been swayed to actually give this movie a shot because Justin, of all people, knows that I, of course, don't care for DC all that much, let alone Superman. And after watching the trailer that featured the dog, yeah, I'm going to give this movie an honest to God shot.
Yeah.
And although when I did see Nathan Fillion's haircut, oh my God, why? Why on earth did they do that to him? And I know that the character looks like that in the comic and what have you, but like, good golly, Nathan Fillion, who, in my opinion, is not a bad looking guy, but this makes him look bad, like not attractive whatsoever.
Well,
Whole
that's
purpose.
that's
I
kind
get
of the
it.
point. Yeah,
I get it. No, I totally get it. But yeah, this I will give this movie a shot. I really will.
Yeah. I think this could be the highest grossing movie of the year. If it's not this one, it might be the next one we're going to talk about. But yeah, I'm super excited. Can't wait. I really think David Cornsweet is going to be, like you mentioned, Christopher Reeve
What
was
an
Superman for a lot of
unfortunate
people.
name. Sorry. Just the last name. What a very unfortunate name.
I don't know. I think if he really hits it big with Superman, it's going to be like Cornsweet will just be that'll be his name. You know, it'll be a cool name because he's the guy who's Superman.
Just not a good name. Sorry.
But I do believe he will be Superman for the next generation of people. I like much like Christopher Reeve was Superman forever, and he'll always be Superman to me and to many people. I think this is where we're going to see David Corenswet take the baton and assume the mantle as the Man of Steel for many years to come.
I do feel, because I, of course, will compare everybody who plays Superman after Henry Cavill to Henry Cavill. It's a little bit of a step down, of course, but then also you've got Specimen that is Henry Cavill, who is just massive.
Yeah, but David Cornswet's 6'4" though. Like
no, I get that. He's just not as built.
He's
just not as built.
But it's because he's 4 inches taller than him. Like David Cornswet's in pretty good shape. Like if you've seen like his workout stuff, like I mean, he's a big dude. So
well, so
I mean,
is Henry
it's definitely
Cavill,
no doubt about that. But I mean, it's a different looking Superman. But I mean, it's a more comic accurate Superman. It's a big, tall dude. So anyway, looking forward to this movie. Can't wait. We're gonna be talking a lot about this movie over the summer, and so if you're into Superman, this will be Superman Central for a little while over the summer. So please come back and join us for that.
You should get some glasses, or you should wear your glasses when we do the pods regarding Superman. Just throwing that idea.
I'm gonna get
there.
some Clark Kent like black glasses. Yeah,
do it. That'd be great.
Moving on, 2 weeks later in July, on July 25th, we have Fantastic Four: First Steps, which, like I said, if Superman's not the highest grossing movie of the year, I believe it will be this movie. And I think Trisha was saying the same thing in the chat.
Trisha agrees. Yeah. Yes. She does believe that this will be the highest grossing film.
Yeah. So will be the 37th film in the MCU, and it'll be the beginning of Phase 6. So obviously they're kicking off Phase 6 with a property that they really want to get right after we've had 3 other Fantastic Four movies, which we may talk about over the summer. We may revisit some of those movies. Well, we might. We'll see. But basically, the premise of this story is it's a 1960s retro futuristic Earth. It's not the 616 universe or the 1999. They're the Fantastic Four in a different 1960s universe, and they're gonna. I guess somehow they're gonna end up with our Marvel characters by the end of it, with our MCU characters. It's directed by Matt Shakman. He, of course, did WandaVision. He directed many episodes of Game of Thrones, and so he's been around. He is
Did he really? Okay.
Yeah, very, very high thought of. But I mean, mostly like he was the WandaVision guy, so that's how he got Fantastic Four. And just quickly, I'll talk about the cast. Pedro Pascal is Reed Richards / Mr. Fantastic. Vanessa Kirby is Sue Storm slash the Invisible Woman. Joseph Quinn is Johnny Storm slash Human Torch. And Evan Moss Bacharach is Ben Grimm slash the Thing. You've also got Ralph Ineson, who will voicing Galactus, who is maybe the main villain of the film. You have Julia Garner making her MCU debut as Shala Ball, the female Silver Surfer, which I know is going to bother a lot of people, but whatever. Like, that is a character in the comic books. And also something that I'll save this. Brittany, what are your thoughts on Fantastic Four?
I absolutely feel that right now, Trisha and I are one. We're absolutely one because yes, I am one of those people who have zero interest in seeing this movie because the others were just so bad. But because of Pedro Pascal, Internet Daddy. I am here. I am here for him. That man can do no wrong in my eyes, and that's because I saw Gladiator 2. Good grief. But Pedro's been having a solid few years, right? Just given really his takeoff in Game of Thrones. And man, I loved him in Game of Thrones, of course. But I've never truly enjoyed watching Fantastic Four. And that even goes as far back as to the Jessica Alba, Chris Evans adaptation of it. I've never cared about these characters. I've never cared about the stories. When they tried to do the reboot that had, what's his name? Miles Teller. And I think Michael B. Jordan was in it as well.
He was
terrible. Holy crap. I wish I could get my time back from watching those movies. I might have actually even fallen asleep on that reboot. But given that they are, and I say they, Marvel, is taking an approach where it's an alternate universe, it's in a different time period. I think the 60s is so much fun. And the fact that they've involved the guy who was, the guy for WandaVision, how fun that show was and how creative and out of the box that was. So this kind of gives me a little bit more hope that maybe this version of the Fantastic Four will actually be a decent version. But I'm not an optimistic person. Like, anyone who really truly knows me knows I am not an optimistic person by any means. Like, I'm a pessimist realist. And again, I'm going to go into it with an open mind. I am looking forward to the creativity behind it. Pedro Pascal. That's it.
I'm super excited about this movie. I think that you mentioned Pedro Pascal. I think people are going to be interested, obviously, in him, but I think they're also going to be interested in the love story with him and Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman.
Now, I did love her in The Crown. She played Princess Margaret, the younger version of Princess Margaret, and she was phenomenal, like phenomenal. So yes, I am looking forward to seeing how she performs as Sue Storm.
We have not seen a trailer. I know there's been some like footage shown at different cons across the world, but as far as like a wide release, they haven't done a trailer yet. They're probably going to do that at the Super Bowl. My guess is it'll be a Super Bowl trailer. So so I'm looking forward to that. Also, I want to mention that I mentioned before, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Dr. Doom going forward. Dr. Doom, he faces off with the Fantastic Four quite a bit in the comics. So I do believe we will see Robert Downey Jr. make his Dr. Doom debut in a mid-credit or a post-credit scene in this film. So
interesting.
That's why I think this movie will be likely the highest grossing movie. It'll be this or Superman, and they're going to be battling out. In fact, right now it's slated for July 25th. There's been no indication that it won't make that date, but I would not be surprised if this movie maybe pushes to a different date, maybe in November or something. Probably not, but
we'll see.
I don't know. To me, that's a lot of superhero stuff in the same month, like just a few weeks apart. But I mean, I'm going to see.
Before.
Yeah,
it's happened before.
I'm down for it. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I should mention also that Natasha Lyonne is going to play a character in the Fantastic Four. We saw her recently or voice a character in
What If
season 3 of What If. She was Birdie the Duck. Yeah, so.
God.
She will not be Birdie the Duck in Fantastic Four. So
if she is, I'm walking out of that theater. Like, I'm sorry. Howard the Duck. Why?
Right.
Ever. Why? Okay. Moving on.
Yeah. Let's move on to August. August 6th, we get Eyes of Wakanda, which is a 4-episode miniseries. It is the first TV series of Phase 6 for the MCU, the 15th overall. The premise is it's these Wakandan warriors carry out a dangerous mission to retrieve vibranium artifacts throughout history. So I think it's going to be like kind of a prequel, kind of before, obviously before T'Challa is what it's an animated show. We haven't really seen much about this. We've heard about it for a couple of years, but we haven't seen anything about it. Brittany, you have any thoughts about Eyes of Wakanda?
I'm again gonna go into it with an open mind and looking forward to see what they have to offer. A 4-episode run is kind of unusual in
Yeah.
general. Just I think for any miniseries at, at any level, given that Black Panther was just an iconic movie, and what that did for Marvel Studios and Chadwick Boseman in his career and what have you. R.I.P. Seeing the news recently that Marvel and Ryan Coogler are looking to recast T'Challa is for me it's quite upsetting because they had made it very
Well,
like outright like adamant, we're not going to. But I understand why they might be doing it. It's probably going to be a multiverse situation where it's a different T'Challa from a different universe and what have you. And I get it, but it's just like, oh
yeah.
gosh,
Well, I mean
like how can we?
that's a rumor though.
I
The
know,
recasting T'Challa, we don't know that for a fact. I mean, the source of that rumor though is he's a scooper who does pretty good work. So I do kind of trust it,
yeah,
but yeah, we'll wait to see what happens with the recasting. I think what'll happen is if they do recast T'Challa, it'll be a T'Challa from the Fantastic Four universe or from another universe that gets mixed up in Doomsday or Secret Wars in some way. I don't think it's going to be like they're just going to go, "Oh, there's another guy named T'Challa we forgot about. And it's
yeah.
your other brother T'Challa," or something like that. Or I don't think they're going to age up the kid from Wakanda Forever, but maybe they
Yeah,
will. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't know.
Uh,
I Trisha, I mean, I can only see this because of I'm looking at two different chats right here, but she had said something regarding hopefully that this show will not be pushed back because we haven't been given much of anything regarding the show, and it kind of gave me Blade. Blade anxiety because
yeah,
good lord, we knew that Mahershala Ali was cast as Blade years ago at this point, and there's been very little movement with
yeah,
Blade. So hopefully any of these shows, any of these movies that have been announced are not going to be given that same treatment. And I get it. Like a lot of stuff happens behind the scenes, people scheduling conflicts and whatnot. But I just hope that whatever we do receive for this show is going to be done very well. And hopefully, given Ryan Coogler and company, I just hope that we get something truly, truly well done.
yeah. I think we will. And mentioning Blade is supposed to come out in November of 2025. That is not going to happen, of course, but that was supposed to be the date for the movie. Or
No, Trisha, don't say R.I.P. Blade. Okay, like I know Wesley Snipes made his cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine. Spoiler,
yeah,
in case anyone hasn't watched it. Also, why? But him saying he's like, there's only one Blade. There's ever only going to be one Blade, and I'm like, at this point, he's kind of hitting the mark. Like
yeah.
that kind of sucks because
He's not wrong.
I was very much looking forward to Mahershala portraying Blade because
Yeah,
he's great. He's great in whatever he does.
he is. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with Blade. We'll also see what happens with Eyes of Wakanda. I'm sure we'll be talking about that series in
Yeah,
the late summer,
for
early
sure.
fall. Moving on. Another DC project. We get season 2 of Peacemaker, which season 1 of Peacemaker was phenomenal. It stars John Cena as Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker. Um, Also a James Gunn project written by James Gunn. Now this is interesting because this series obviously came out. It was a part of the DCEU.
Mhm.
Season 1 was, but season 2 is going to be part of the DCU. So
Not
James
confusing at
Gunn
all.
is going to explain how that. Which I mean, for most of the series, it doesn't matter because like there's no mention of the other characters until there is a scene at the end of season 1 that has some certain actors who played Justice League members in the DCEU in the scene. So they'll have to figure that one out. But I'm looking forward to this show. I love season 1. Brittany, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you watched season 1, correct?
I have not.
If not, okay.
I have not. And I threw the comment up here earlier, but Trisha, not a fan. Not a fan of Peacemaker, probably because she's not a fan of John Cena. Listen, Trisha, I get it. I wasn't a fan of John Cena, period, up until I just saw him on Graham Norton having a random interview with Matthew McConaughey. And I'm like, this guy's actually funny.
He's funny. Yeah.
Genuinely funny. I don't believe it's a put on. If it is, it's one hell of a put on. But he's actually funny. And then of course we see him as Dominic Toretto's brother in Fast and Furious franchise, and Jesus, good Lord.
That's Jacob Toretto you're talking about, okay? Put some respect on his name. R.I.P.
No.
He's gone forever, of course.
I didn't know that the Torettos had Nordic blood in them. Like, just why? Anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
But I Justin, you've talked about Peacemaker very highly. You and I tend to have very similar tastes when it comes to like movies and shows, albeit maybe we will agree to disagree on our interpretations of said shows and movies, like Craven. But but yeah, I don't know if I'm actually going to give this one a try, just because it's obviously giving Suicide Squad, vibes, and I really did not like Suicide Squad. Really did not like it, and yeah, no.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of John Cena. I'm a fan of John Cena the wrestler, John Cena the actor. Ricky Stenicki is also really funny on Amazon Prime. He's in that movie. You'll get some chuckles out of that one if you watched it. But no, I love Peacemaker. I think it's a great character. Looking forward to season 2, which is coming in August. We don't have a date yet, but some point in August. So moving to October 3rd, we have Marvel Zombies, which is a series that's been in the works for a long time. In fact, the first season of What If in 2021, we got a What If Zombies episode.
So good.
Yeah, and so this is going to be a continuation of that
Mhm.
that episode of What If. It's part of Phase 6. It's the 16th television series in the MCU, and it follows a group of survivors who must fight against former heroes and villains that have been turned into zombies. Some of the zombified people we can expect to see include David Harbour's Red Guardian, Awkwafina's Katie from Shang-Chi, Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch,
Yep.
Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, Kate Bishop, voiced by Haley Steinfeld, Riri Williams / Ironheart's going to be in this. Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, is going to be in it. And apparently we're also going to get Moon Knight, Clint Barton, Hawkeye, of course. Steve Rogers is supposed to make an appearance, and Captain Marvel. And there's others also. We haven't seen much of this either. It's like Eyes of Wakanda. It's an animated series. What are your thoughts on Marvel Zombies?
If it's going to follow what we got from season 1 of What If, that one episode that aired, which happened to be one of my favorite episodes from that season. Also, I hope the look is similar to that of What If. I thought What If looked really, really great in the style of animation that they took. But at the same time, I'm looking for storyline. I'm looking for just telling a good story. Honestly, I can't stress it even more. I'm going into this with an open mind, but I hope to be entertained.
Yeah. I think it's no coincidence that this show is dropping October 3rd. It's going to air during spooky season. It's going to be this year's Halloween show for Disney Plus. So, yeah, we'll talk about it when it comes out. I think we'll probably do the series as a whole.
But as someone who doesn't like zombies, like I will not watch zombie movies.
Yeah.
Animation, might be okay. Hopefully, we'll see.
Especially when they're Marvel characters, so that adds something to it.
That's true. if Captain Marvel ends up being a zombie, sorry, if she ends up being a zombie, I'll be okay with it. She's not one of my favorites, so she can go. That's fine. But if Scarlet Witch comes back as a zombie, right?
Yeah,
and she's still as powerful as ever, damn, we're all fucked.
Yep. So yeah, we'll be talking about that one later on in the year. And then finally, we have in December. We don't have a date for it. We just know it's in December. We have Wonder Man is the final thing from Marvel for 2025. Well, there's not a lot of details out on this one. We know that Yahya Abdul Mateen II is going to be playing the title character Wonder Man. Simon Williams, he is an actor turned stuntman turned superhero, and we're also going to get the return of Ben Kingsley as Trevor Slattery in this show. Apparently, it's going to be a Marvel Spotlight under the Marvel Spotlight banner, just like Echo. I've heard recently that it's going to be kind of like a comedy, like She-Hulk was. It's going to be 8 to 10 episodes. So, there's not a ton out there about this. We've seen only like brief, video snippets and a couple of set photos, but
Okay.
I'm interested because Yahya Abdul Mateen, he's a great actor. He was excellent in the Watchmen series on HBO. I mean, phenomenal. Like that Watchmen's it's just one season. It's a one-off series. One of the best superhero series of all time. And he was also great as Black Manta in the Aquaman movies, and now we've got him in the MCU. So I'm looking forward to it. Brittany, what are your thoughts on Wonder Man? Do you know anything about the character? I know very little about the character.
And I know even less than whatever you know about Wonder Man. You're the researcher, okay? You do all this the heavy lifting.
I know he's an Avenger.
I'm just here to look pretty,
Yeah. I know he has a suit with a big W on his chest, and he's an Avenger, usually a member of the West Coast Avengers. So it makes sense for him being an actor in California. So
got it. Okay. Yes. So everything that I know is what you just shared, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah.
But so, if it's supposed to be kind of similar to, let's say, that of She-Hulk, and She-Hulk broke the fourth wall, I mean, will Wonder Man do the same thing?
No, I think it'll be similar because it'll be a comedy.
Okay. Well, She-Hulk also didn't quite land for me personally, so maybe a little bit of skepticism on my part, but yeah.
So that concludes our list of things. Now, granted, there's probably going to be things that are going to pop up that we don't know, that aren't confirmed yet. Like I said, Gen V, the second season is supposed to come out at some point in 2025, probably like in that June time period. And if so, it's a spin-off Boys series. We love the Boys, so we'll definitely be talking about that in the summer if that's when it comes out. Also, there's season 2 of The Sandman, which is a DC property. It's on Netflix. Supposedly it's coming out this year. The creator of that comic and that show is a guy named Neil Gaiman. His name's been in the news lately, not for good reason. So I don't know if that's gonna have an impact on when this show comes out or not. I know he's pretty heavily involved in this series. So we shall see about that.
Oh.
And and also Kate Crusader, which is a show that Frank and I reviewed this year. It's an Amazon Prime series. It's a Batman animated series. It's kind of the spiritual successor to the Batman animated series of the 90s. We saw season 1 this past year. We might see season 2. I don't think so, but I don't know. And I couldn't find any information to say it was or wasn't, but we shall see. As far as that's the year in superheroes. And then, like I said, there's a lot of stuff, and there might be more stuff. So Brittany, as we're kind of getting out of here once again, give me your most anticipated TV show.
Daredevil.
Okay. And most anticipated movie.
I don't know. Truly, I don't think I have one. I will go see the movies. Like, I'll put it that way. I'll go see the movies. I don't think I have like one that I'm like truly like I have to go see it or I'll die sort of situation. But if I have to choose, probably Thunderbolts.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Probably Thunderbolts. I would definitely want to see how this team up is gonna work. Yeah. But we shall see. What about you?
So So for me, like, you know me, I love the MCU. I'm one of the few people I'm still pretty positive about the MCU.
Yeah, you are.
Until everything is totally trash. I'm gonna go down with the ship. I love the MCU.
Mhm.
However,
You're
my
welcome,
most
by the way.
yeah, my most anticipated show is Peacemaker season 2, and
Mhm.
of course, my most anticipated movie is Superman.
You
Cannot wait
bandwagoner.
for Superman.
Just kidding.
Yeah. I've been a Superman fan literally my whole life.
I know.
So,
I know. I'm
cannot
just
wait
kidding.
for that. But we wanna know what you think. What is your most anticipated TV show for superheroes, and what's your most anticipated superhero film coming out? You can let us know in the live chat if you've been live, join us for live chat. We always appreciate that. Or you can let us know in the comment section below. That also helps us. Brittany,
Yep.
let's get out of
Yep.
here. So plug away.
Yep. First and foremost, you're a traitor, says Trisha. I couldn't agree more.
No, I'm a supporter of both teams, like of the DCU, the MCU. Like I'm
He's like, I hope
firmly
both teams
yeah,
win.
yeah. No, I like both.
Yeah, you do.
I think it's silly when people are like tribal about that stuff. I
Yeah.
because I
Yes.
talked about this before, like honestly, if superhero stuff like goes down the drain a little bit, you know what we're gonna see in like 10 years? We're gonna see a Marvel DC crossover movie. Like that could definitely happen. I mean, hell, at some point the same company might own both companies. You never know. Like that's but I like both. I like the fact that they're similar. I like the fact that they have differences and I'm a big fan of all this stuff.
I'll
I'm
take
about this
the
superhero life. Yeah.
I'll take the mouse over Warner Brothers any day to
Well,
take over.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
that being said, Justin, to reiterate, we do want to hear from you all out there who have taken time to watch our live stream, if not our replay. Let us know in the comments down below what you are most looking forward to in 2025, the year of the superhero. Tell us your TV and your movie that you definitely want to go check out. And let us know if there's anything else that maybe we have missed that we need to do some research on and talk about. And with that being said, Justin, I'll do a little spiel. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. We are presently at 428 subscribers. We're on the road to 500 people. Let us hit that
Let's get there. Yeah.
in 2025. You can help make that happen by clicking that subscribe button. While you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button to show support for us here at the Watchers in the Basement, and also hit that notification bell. That way, you know the next time we will go live, which will be soon because we have football as well as talking about the finale for Landman, which
Right.
will be done by Frank and Marcy once Frank returns from his trip. And we've also got other content coming your way. So, like I said, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way, you know the next time we will go live. Also, uh, what is happening? What did I miss?
No,
We're live.
Trisha's got some great stuff in the chat. She's talking about how we should do a pre-Oscars award show predicting winners.
Oh,
The problem with that, Trisha, is I haven't seen many of the movies, but
yeah,
I
that's true.
I will say I don't know that it's gonna win any awards, but so my favorite movie of the year was Deadpool and Wolverine, of course,
Of
right?
course.
But my
Not
second
an Oscar
favorite
nomination.
I know it's not. I know that. What I'm saying is though, but like of the movies that are kind of nominated in some categories, my favorite was Wicked. I love Wicked. Great movie. It's a superhero movie. I've talked to Brittany about this. We're gonna do when Wicked is on Peacock and streaming. We're gonna do a review of Wicked. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure when that's gonna be. If that's next month, if that's 2
it's
months
coming.
down the road, but we're talking about Wicked because I love it. I love the movie. I love the songs. Like I knew nothing about this and I'm super into it. I can't wait for Wicked for Good, which by the way, I didn't mention that during this because technically it's not superhero, but I mean, come on, it's kind of superhero. Let's be real. Like it's kind of superhero. Um, really looking forward to a Wicked for Good and hope you'll check out our Wicked review at some point in a few months.
In
Um,
other words, look towards the western sky for Justin flying
right.
on his broom and singing Defying Gravity. It's going to happen. So let me
Yeah.
finish my spiel.
Yeah.
If you haven't done so, also check out our social media links. You can find that all in the description box down below here on YouTube. And if you are not into video podcasts, we also got you covered with our audio podcast available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to give us a follow on those platforms and give us a 5-star rating.
Yes, please do that. Thank you, Brittany. One other thing from the chat I want to mention, Trisha mentioned saying we should cover the challenge. When are we covering the challenge? I assume she means like the
The
MTV
MTV, the
challenge or whatever. Yeah.
The hard pass on me.
If so, I honestly, I've not watched that in like 15 years, maybe. Like gun to my head, I couldn't tell you if I have MTV or not. I probably do I have Fubo, by the way, but I don't think I've ever watched MTV. Like, cause they don't, it's not, it's just like, what's
It's
that
not
show
music
that
television anymore.
Ridiculousness or whatever that show that's
Oh
on, like,
gosh.
it's like on all the time. Yeah. So, we will not be watching this challenge, but you're welcome to tell us all about it. I did watch it back in the day.
They are airing Friends on MTV on the
Oh,
weekend now, Justin,
okay.
along with The Big Bang Theory. So just throwing that
You
out
can
there. I still
stream
have not watched an episode of Friends ever in my life.
well,
Ever.
you should get on that. Friends is a classic TV show, so.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna
Yeah. pivot.
and just
Yeah.
have that. I'm very familiar with the meme.
Very, very good.
Anyway, that
Yeah.
being said, thank you to everyone who has joined us for today's live
We
chat.
appreciate it.
Shout out to Trisha and King B. Johnson for being here. Also, Yesenia at the top of the show. Hopefully you stuck around. If not, it's cool. We still love you. We forgive you. And hopefully again, y'all will join us for the next live.
Yeah, we really appreciate everybody in the chat. Really, really means a lot to us. Really makes us feel good, and it adds an extra fun layer to these podcasts, which we do put a lot of time and effort into, and we hope you enjoy them. And we certainly like doing these things. So we'd love to do them more. We'd love to make this like a career if possible. I know there's a billion people doing this stuff on YouTube and other platforms, but we would like to, step it up and do more of this if we could, because we're doing this in addition to our day jobs. And, we'd like to not have day jobs if possible. That would be tremendous. But we appreciate your support. The like and subscribe and comments and all that stuff really, really helps us out. And we appreciate it. So, so as we're let's wrap this episode up. So Brittany, I appreciate all your help. Did all the great graphic work as always. And let's get out of here. So for Brittany, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will have a good night. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.